Welcome back, and always delighted to spend time with Michael Letts. He's the founder and president and CEO of Invest America. He has over 30 years of law enforcement experience under his belt. He's the author of a new book called Truth, Lies, and Control, Finding Hope in an Upside-Down World. There's a picture of the cover of the book. He has a couple of websites, investusa.org and then michaelletts.us. And there's a picture of both those landing pages as well. Brother Michael, good to see you, friend. How are you, buddy?
Doing great, Perry. It's always a privilege to be with you. It's been a busy 3-4 weeks. You've been in DC most of the time, but here's a strategy, Perry. We're trying to make it happen faster than they can keep track of it, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, you got everybody's brain on tilt, man. Hey,
that was well planned.
Michael, a couple of things here. Do you know, first of all, Oregon is the oldest sanctuary state. I don't know if you knew that. We were a sanctuary state before, I think, there was a union of states. I don't know. But anyway, but the point being is this. Our county sheriff seems to be strapped by the fact that the state law says they can't assist ICE. I get that. But can ICE go around them?
Yes, we definitely can, and we are doing that. I will tell you this, though. We are targeting Oregon now, as we are with New York and Illinois, California, Arizona, and others. Any state that has these sanctuary laws we think are unconstitutional. And the first thing we're doing, we're cutting off federal funding. So you're going to see some reevaluation out of the governorships in those areas. Because quite frankly, federal money comes in the form of Medicare, Medicaid, transportation, highway trust fund, et cetera, et cetera. They really can't afford to have that spigot turned off. But we are committed. Pam Bondi has already drafted the paperwork and has already filed the lawsuits. And we are committed to making sure those federal dollars cease until these states begin to abide by federal law. Okay,
I'm trying to figure out why a state in today's atmosphere would remain a sanctuary state.
I think it's because of the fact their brain doesn't go all the way to the top, quite frankly, Barry. I can't understand how any governor could look his constituents in the eye and say, we think it's better for you to have additional violent criminals, syndicated cartels, terrorists, et cetera, remain in our state than to be shipped back where they're supposed to be. Makes no logical sense, makes no sense at all. And quite frankly, they're only doing it to play to the center stage of the Democratic liberal left-wing policy. And that's a very poor reason when you put your own citizens at risk.
Is it true that Democrats now are trying to push a law through that would give illegal immigrants expedited pardons to avoid deportation?
They are working on it, Barry. They're working real hard. It's not going to go anywhere. Quite frankly, Tom and I are committed from the standpoint, look, you break the law, even if you come in illegally, but especially if you're a criminal, if you're a drug cartelist, terrorist, et cetera, you will be being exported, and preferably for you, it'll just be in shackles. At this stage, if you want to resist, you may be going home in a body bag.
The numbers at the border are amazing. I mean, in 30 days, we've gone from hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, to almost hundreds. What's the update, Michael?
Well, quite frankly, here's where we're at now. Of course, with the Biden administration, we were 15,000 a day crossing illegally. We now put that number under 200 a day. And quite frankly, the 200 we're talking about are gotaways, and we're going to close that off pretty quickly, too. We're processing and making sure the remaining of the wall gets built. We're bringing in, of course, we have military all on that line. We're bringing in electronic devices, drones and other things for surveillance. So we're going to shut it off to zero, but we're almost there as it stands now. Here's what most people don't realize, Barry, this is so shocking, is you cannot get across the river, the Rio Grande, coming from the Mexican side without the blessing of the cartel. And the way you get the blessing of the cartels is $20,000 a person. Now, they don't care whether you work that off by being in their human sex trafficking organization or whether you're running drugs for them. They don't care, but they're going to get their $20,000 a person. Now, you look at the numbers, $15,000 a day times $20,000 a day. We cut all that off. So now you understand why the cartels are in an uproar, trying to figure out what they can do to change the direction that this country is taking. They're not going to be successful. We've already taken a firm position with the Mexican government. Quite frankly, we understand the Mexican government is controlled by the cartels. So we've already sent the message. If you can't handle it, we'll handle it for you.
Part of that was that if the cartel kills any of our military or border patrol, all bets are off. We go inside their borders and take them out?
We're already putting that. Let me explain why. We have intercepted their communications, the cartel's communications. They have actually, and this is what is so infuriating, Perry, the armaments, advanced armaments, some of the best armaments in the world that we possess, that we sent to Ukraine never got there. They were actually put on the black market, sold by Ukraine to the cartels. Those weaponized drones and other things are now ended up in their hands. They have issued intel among their leadership saying they're to arm those drones and to send them back across the border and to use them against Border Patrol and our military to create holes so they can begin to move human trafficking once again. We're not going to stand for that, quite frankly. We are already prepared. We're putting covert operations in place, and they drew the line in the sand. They drew it the wrong way. We're going to take them out. And that decision has already been made. They're going to be not disrupted, but they're going to be eliminated. And we have let the Mexican government know if we have to go all the way to Mexico City to do so, so be it. You will not be on the border harassing and killing and hurting our citizens.
We know where they are. We have the intelligence. We know where they are. So it's just a matter of time. Is that what I'm hearing you say, Michael?
That's correct. We have all the operations underway, and their move is the next call. How fast they want to get us to move on them. If they decide to back down, we'll take that under consideration. But right now, even if they back down, Perry, we can't afford to have somebody with those kind of armaments right across our border. That's like the Cuban Missile Crisis. We will eliminate the threat.
Okay, how's this working in California, Michael, when you got a governor that wants to leave the border open?
Well, you got a couple of them. You got, Gavin, you've got Hobbs in Arizona, who for some reason think that because they're the governor, they can just ignore federal law with no consequences. We have taken the position, Pam Bondi is backing us on this, the Attorney General. If they do not come in compliance with federal law, they will be arrested. That's going to be interesting to have governors arrested, but quite frankly, we have the authority to do so, and we will exercise that authority because we will not allow them to place the rest of this country in jeopardy. There's no way, Perry, you can say, okay, these illegal immigrants are just going to stay in our state and won't bother anybody else. It doesn't work that way. That's not how our country's set up. So the fact that we won't let you do it to any other place in the country, if you can't control it and obey by federal law, we're going to take you out.
I have one other question, Michael. Obviously, the cartel very much involved in drug trafficking, sex trafficking, and all that. I get it, and I do want you to comment about the fentanyl coming across the border. But what about the cartel that's involved in agriculture in California? Any idea how we can get them out of that business?
Yeah, they're involved in a lot more than just agriculture. But here's what we're doing. We are following, because you remember we declared the cartels now as terrorist organizations. So we're not really caring whether you're getting it from fentanyl, sex trafficking, or agriculture. All those assets are going to be seized. We're tracking the money as we speak. We're going to seize all those assets and then take all the personnel that are involved with it and move them out. It doesn't have to be just because you're moving fentanyl.
How's the fentanyl numbers now?
The numbers are going down drastically because of the fact that we're confronting China as well. Here's what they have done. China has become so concerned about this. They're now sending the materials for fentanyl, the minerals, to South Africa. South Africa is then putting them together, and then they're trying to move them from South Africa into Mexico and back across the border. But we know where their tunnels are at. We know where their locations are, and we're destroying them. We're blowing them up as we speak. That's not something the mainstream media understands, but we're shutting down their operations as we speak, and that is why they are desperate, and we expect it to get a whole lot worse before it gets better.
Do you see sanctions coming on Mexico from the United States?
I do. Quite frankly, it's a very tough situation in Mexico. I lived there the majority of my life. And quite frankly, since they're controlled by the cartels, even their elected people are put in by the cartels, and if they don't do what the cartels want them to do, they eliminate their families. They don't just go after them, they eliminate their families. So they're really between a rock and a hard place. We recognize that. That's why we're taking the position that, look, we want to be fair. We want Mexico to succeed. We want its people to succeed. We love the Mexican people. However, we will not put up with corruption, and part of that is an unfair trade balance. They criticize Trump for wanting to include tariffs, but yet every other country in the world tariffs us big huge amounts, and we don't even match it. So the president's come up with a very unique plan. If you want to give a 10% tariff, we'll put one back on you. You want zero tariffs, you'll have zero tariffs. You want 100% tariffs, you call the shot. We're just going to duplicate that when it comes to your product coming into America, and we're going to see how that works.
Is there, from your understanding, Michael, is there now, I'm trying to figure out how to ask the question, is there a rise in returning respect to law enforcement?
Oh, there's no question. We were just on that meeting this morning. And let me tell you, here's where we're at. Law enforcement has now, across the country, got a sigh of relief. The law enforcement officers are excited. They feel like they are now going to be allowed to do their job. But let's also be realistic, Barry, and say, where are the sticking points? Because they were so brutalized and so called so many different things over the last 4 years, the number of people going into law enforcement is way off. So we're losing a lot of people by retirements. We lost a lot over the last 4 years, and nobody wants to wear the badge. So we're creating new programs we're going to be unveiling all across the country to let our young people know law enforcement is an honorable profession. It is a way to serve your community, and it is extremely rewarding when you have the right people behind you.
Since DOJ has been out uncovering unbelievable stuff, I mean, we knew there was problems. I don't think we had any idea it was at the level that it is. This is a big question, and I'm not trying to placate you in any way, but did you, even in your position, did you realize corruption was that bad?
Nobody did. Nobody did, not even the president. We understood it was bad. But let me just put up a couple quick things here, Perry. We're talking about we uncovered $2.75 trillion, not billion, $trillion that is fraudulent in our Medicare system. How do we know it's fraudulent? These people are 150 years and older. I don't think any of them exist. They're all across the world, not just in America. That's just one aspect. Here's what we're finding. It's not so much that people spent additional dollars for a better pen that you didn't think they deserved. The dollars we're talking about appear to be money laundering, embezzlement, and actual thievery out of the U.S. Treasury. We're fixing to find out this week, Perry, whether we still have the gold reserves at Fort Knox or not. This is just mind-boggling how bad the corruption has been. But I can assure you of this, we're on a roll, and we're not going to stop until it's cleaned up.
Do you expect in the middle of all this, and I think one of the things that we found our brain on tilt was the USAID agency, we had no idea that it was as bad as it was. That only leaves one thing in my mind, that there were kickbacks. Do you think we'll find them?
Oh, there's no question. Let me tell you a couple of things that we've already done. By executive order, we've charged the Department of Justice, who is now putting together special prosecutors. We're going to take a look at every member of Congress who has come in, say they came in with $100,000 in their pocket, and now they're worth $200–300 million. I'm sorry, Barry, that just doesn't make sense to me. And quite frankly, we're going to start following the money everywhere. We've got information from Ukraine. We've got information from Russia. We've got information from China. We've got information from all over the world as to how these kickbacks are occurring. We know how they're happening. One of the things they do is they create NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and they'll say, Rick, how about serving on our board? We're going to pay you $1 million, $2 million a year. The only thing you have to do is make sure that the $100 million in appropriations goes through the budget process every year. And they're doing that all over the place. There are thousands of NGOs, and that's how they're providing kickbacks. It's going to come to an end. Not only is it going to come to an end, but they're going to be held accountable, and they will serve time. That's why we've got Gitmo reopened, and military tribunals will be starting shortly.
Michael, I don't know how you sleep at night, knowing all that you know. Thank you. I know that God's peace is with you, and that makes you a happy guy.
Exactly. Man, please, Perry, that justice is coming again to America. God wants us to be accountable. He expects accountability, and we're about to deliver it to the United States.
Thank you, buddy. God bless you. Let's stay in touch. Again, investusa.org is one website. michaelletts.us is the other website, and check out the book. I think you'll find it to be pretty fascinating. Truth, Lies, and Control, Finding Hope in an Upside Down World. There's a picture of the book. God bless you, my friend.
God bless you, Greg. God bless you.